Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. So everybody's talking about how Black Lives Matter. I agree, but at the end of the day, not just Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter at the end of the day. And Fox is, I didn't know that these people died in this manner, but just kind of relaxing at home the last few days because this pinched nerve is driving me nuts and I got to rest that hot bicep. But we're watching a lot more TV than I normally do because I can't really work at the shop or anything. But anyways, so this is actually very interesting. So I'll let it play.
Dorn served his community for almost 40 years as a police officer. Even after he retired, he continued to help others. Last weekend, Dorn was in St. Louis trying to protect a friend's store from looters, and he was murdered for doing it. This country ought to remember Dorn. He represents the best of America. Instead, his name has been shoved down the memory hole. The media would like him forgotten immediately so they can go back to inflaming hateful violence across our nation. We should not let that happen. He was not the only victim, by the way, of these riots, and not the only victim who has been forgotten. We think that's a shame. On Twitter, former White House speechwriter Darren Beattie, and good for him, has been keeping track of the casualties of this rioting, and we want to read some of them to you because it's important to remember people who've been killed. More than just one, many. David Patrick Underwood was a federal protective service officer in California. A week ago, he was shot to death. We don't know who killed him. He was protecting a federal building in Oakland. One of his colleagues was also critically injured in that shooting. Natalia Marie Kelly was just 22 years old. She was attending a George Floyd-related protest in Davenport, Iowa. She became uncomfortable with the direction of that protest, understandably. She got in her car to leave, and she was killed by a stray bullet, shot dead. Jose Gutierrez was a bystander. He was watching as others looted the Chicago suburb of Cicero. For being there, he was shot in the head and killed by this man, Zion Haygood. That's what police say. Another victim in Cicero, Illinois was Victor Cesares Jr. He was 27. He was shot to death outside a grocery store. No one remembers his name. We should. In Minneapolis, Francisco Montiel, who was 46, was found dead next to a burned-out car. Police attributed his death to, quote, complex homicidal violence. That's obvious. He was a casualty of the riots. At least 3 people were murdered during the violence in Indianapolis. One of them was 38-year-old former Indiana football player Chris Beatty. He was found shot to death just outside his apartment. An unnamed Latino man in his 20s was also killed on Sunday in Los Angeles, in an area that was completely demolished by rioters. And of course, those are just the ones who were killed. Probably not an exhaustive list. If you know more, please send them to us. Thousands have been hurt, maimed, financially ruined, brain damaged over the past week. Dozens of those are police officers. They were injured trying to protect the public. One of them is Las Vegas police officer Shay McLanis. He was shot during the riot on Monday. The man who shot him says it was an accident. He was just trying to scare away rioters. We don't know the truth, but the man took a bullet to the head. The police officer did. Every one of those people deserves to be remembered. But instead, again, they are forgotten, and they're forgotten on purpose. The press would like these protests to go down in history as mostly peaceful. They're not, and they're not in part because CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, and many others have been inflaming racial tensions around the country. They're inciting violence. They don't care about the consequences. The rest of us should care. Those are human beings, they're Americans, and now they're gone. And you know who did it? The people on our streets. They should be held accountable for what they did.
Yeah, so that kind of sums it up in a nutshell. I get it. People want to say Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter at the end of the day. And people don't, they want to sit there and run off at the mouth and talk about how, racism is killing these people and so on and so on. No. The fact is there's way more black on black crimes than there are white on black crimes, and it's factual. I mean, you have to look it up. It really sickens me when you hear all the Black Lives Matter stuff. And actuality, I mean, it's very important. Racism is definitely ignorance, and I don't like racism, and I wasn't brought up that way. And the fact is that's what this is all about. Is how whites hate blacks and so on and so on. That's not the case. Obviously, they have things twisted. So I also want to say hi. I love you, Mom, and I love you, baby girl. To my wife, Sarah. I hope this was informative, and please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.